Hey, and welcome to the next video in the Power of Words and Language series. Today I'm going to talk about a scale of words that are certainly sometimes used interchangeably, but I think that we instinctively understand the difference between these. And that is starting at the bottom of a scale with contentment, rising up to happiness, to joy, to delight, to euphoria, to ecstasy. And why those are important, but more importantly, how they work together. And what they mean for us and how we pursue them, because so much is tied up with the adjective happy. I want to be happy. I'm in pursuit of happiness. And I think we really need to understand what that means, how it works. So let me try. Let's start with a state. There are two states within the words I've used: the state of contentment and the state of euphoria. All the others are nouns, and that's really, really important. When you look them up in the dictionary, they often use each other to define each other. So happiness being pleasure, pleasure being great happiness, delight being great pleasure, enjoyment, and all of these sort of things. They all tend to be used together to define each other, which is not massively helpful. What is helpful, though, perhaps, is to think about it in this way. Contentment is a state. We can be in a state of contentment for long periods of time. What we can't be is happy for long periods of time. It's not a state, it's a description, it's an adjective. Happiness is something that we enjoy in waves of time and experience. Similarly, joy. Joy is something that we experience and that we instinctively know is something a little bit greater than happiness, right? And we get joy from doing things in the same way that doing things makes us happy and provides us with happiness. But I think that we all understand that joy is a kind of elevated happiness. But above that, we have delight. Now, delight is a momentary spike of joy and happiness, of great pleasure. And it tends to come from outside. I've done a whole separate video on this, so please watch the link to my video on delight, because it's a beautiful word and a beautiful feeling, a beautiful noun. So these feelings, joy, happiness, delight, are things to aspire to, but the pursuit of them can be problematic, because of course we can know what makes us happy and we can pursue that thing. We can know what delights us and pursue that thing, as I've said in my video. But what's really, really important in life is contentment, because when you get above delight to ecstasy, which are just these massive spikes of enormous pleasure that almost take us out of our minds, right? They're a feeling of ecstasy that is driven by such incredible joy that it effectively takes us out of ourselves. But above that, there's a state of euphoria. Now that can have some slightly negative connotations, but broadly speaking, it's a state that we enter through a period of sustained happiness and stimulation and experience. But again, it's never sustainable. If you've ever met somebody in a permanent state of euphoria, or even having the feeling of ecstasy, they can come across as a little bit nutty. You know that from your own experience, I'm sure. From certain songs, concerts, gigs, moments can induce a state of euphoria, but it never lasts unless you've got an incredible stash of good drugs. So, what's the trick to the enjoyment of life? The trick is contentment, and to focus on contentment. How do you create a state of contentment? How do you get your median feeling, your state, to be contentment as opposed to discontentment, or worse than that, despair, depression, anxiety, and all of those things that constitute the elements of a sense of a state of discontent? We want to be content, don't we? I think we do. So how do we make contentment? Well, the analogy I'd like to use is that our median state, if we wanted to be in contentment, is pulled upwards by moments of happiness, joy, delight, ecstasy, feelings of euphoria from time to time. All of these things act like hooks to pull our median state upwards into and higher into a state of contentment, just as things that make us sad, experiences that cause us to despair or that cause us to worry or exercise concern, pull our median sense of contentment over time downwards. If you have too many moments of sadness, your median state is likely to drift into discontent, just as, and this is the good news, many moments of happiness, joy, delight, ecstasy pull our median state over time into a sense of contentment. And so, aiming at being a content person, we should search for, pursue, and be. This is the important thing. Be happy. Give yourself moments of joy. Give yourself moments of delight. Seek out moments of ecstasy. Be open to them. Know what brings you joy. And we're going to talk at CWH at some length in future about soul food, because soul food, as Kezra will teach you in her soul food course and the things that we'll tell you over the course of the next few months, is what feeds your happiness. It's what makes you happy. It's what gives you moments of delight and moments of ecstasy. So the power of words is that they help us define a state of feeling and then pursue it because we know what it is and we know why we should pursue it. Not just for those moments of happiness, which are great on their own, of course, but because over the long term, those moments make us content, more and more and more content. So that's why those words are important, and that's why I wish you all the very best, and give yourself permission to be happy, to be joyful, to seek moments of delight, because it'll make your life so much better in the long run. Thank you.